Friday, Baylor College of Medicine and friends of Baylor. Well, you know, we're looking back on 2023 this year. What a joyous ride it's been. Anyway, we thought it'd really be great for everyone to see some highlights from the past year. But this year's been a great year for the college and for everybody in the community of Baylor. And I want to thank all the faculty and staff, and trainees and patients and doctors who've just done an amazing thing for the college this year. It's been a great year. I hope you all have a wonderful New Year ahead, and I hope you had a great Christmas. And I know many of you had a good Hanukkah. I certainly did. Anyway, it's exciting. Next year we'll be back for season 5 of the videos. I'm not sure I can take another year of this, but we'll see. Anyway, I want you to have a wonderful and happy New Year, and I can't wait to see you next year. Never blindside your sister with a picture from Mexico's beaches when she's in cold, rainy New York. Way to get back at me? You got to pay back! She sent me a zillion questions to answer, and so it's time for Q&A. I want to end today with a special shout out to Lily. Lily's niece, Lucy, just 2 years old, passed away from an aggressive and unusual B-cell lymphoma, and Lily is on medical leave helping support the family, helping introduce our newest addition to the family, Louie. We can't really get any insight into China because right now, if you look at the reporting, they're not even reporting their numbers. Nobody believes them. You can assume mainland China is also in the midst of a giant surge, about the same as last week. A little bit up, but we'll. And there is what we call a phone. You can remember the XBB 1.5 was originally isolated in Singapore, and the BQ11 and BQ1 isolated in the UK. They're beginning to fall. Again, this points out that these variants develop anywhere in the world. Ton of rain, a tornado, blew out a banana tree. Anyway, so I'm wearing my Mr. Rogers sweater. Welcome to our neighborhood, Baylor College of Medicine.
And it's lovely to be here and great to meet Lily in the flesh as well. She's behaving. So MISC, multi-system inflammatory syndrome of children, is a consequence of COVID that seems only to affect adolescents and older children. And typically occurs about 3 to 6 weeks after a COVID infection.
Virus, and that is fairly common. What are you eating, Miss Lily? Oh, jeez. Miss Lily's eating part of the presentation. When you know it's the wastewater. Lily, stay out of the wastewater. Jeez. 73% of the population over the age of 5 is now gotten at least a primary series of vaccination. And about a third of the population, probably much more than that, but a third of the population that we know of has been infected. You know, 95% of the population has either had a vaccine or been infected or both. And what you can see in the spike protein, when it is binding to the receptor to get into a cell, it has this little thing that sticks out. That's the receptor binding domain. But if you incubate the spike with free fatty acids, it's in the closed position, so it can't interact with the ACE2 receptor. Death count is now well over 40,000 people. It will end up being one of the worst earthquakes of the century. We've had faculty that are actually traveling to the region to try and help survivors. The dominant strain now is XBB 1.5. That's 80% of the strains. BQ1 is down to only about 20% or 10 or 12%. Some good news on respiratory syncytial virus, looking at people over the age of 60, and during RSV season, which was just recently, showed a tremendous benefit and protection. So that should be a big breakthrough, actually. We've not had an effective RSV vaccine. We had Howdy come visit us. Howdy scared Lily a little bit, but we got a picture of Howdy hanging out with the Astros, and the Texans have some of the big hospitals advertisement. We, of course, are the sponsor for the Baylor Medicine Unicorns. We've got the best team. We're going all the way. You know, it's March, and it's time for March Madness for all you basketball fans out there. But, scientists will never be outdone by a bunch of basketball players. So There is this thing called stat madness, and they found improvements in better muscle strength, gait speed, exercise capacity, and blood pressure. In other words, slowing aging. Now, how does that now win? Anyway, they're out. They were eliminated. I have to call it an upset. Real big changes, mostly in South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Zambia, as well as Australia and India. So big reductions across those countries. You remember, I don't know if anybody remembers that one that Rob Lowe did with Alan Carr production. It was the single worst 11 minutes of my life. Her favorite movie is Togo, which was released right at the start of the pandemic. And clearly, talking to Lily, that was clearly the best movie in the entire pandemic and was not even recognized. Good luck in today's match. Today is match day, one of the great events where medical students discover they're going to be living and learning for their next level of training. Have a great weekend. I can't wait to see you next week. Wonder who that could be. Lily and I want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. Have a great weekend. I can't wait to see you next week. The Washington Post listed the worst cities for allergies this year. And the worst city is Wichita, Kansas. Dallas, of course, is number 2, but, I think Dallas is the worst city. You can see our friends in Dimmock had 0 cases last week, and Harris County had 0 cases. In the TMC, our positivity is below 5%, which is great. The raccoon dogs that were being sold in cages there were positive for the Wuhan virus that was infecting people. I know you're dying to know what a raccoon dog looks like. Creepy little animals. They're, I guess they're no creepier than the pangolins. Well, I guess you noticed Miss Lily is not here. In Peru, there was a recording of 3,487 sea lions that died, and they think it's due to influenza A outbreak, the H5N1 variant. It was detected in Peruvian pelicans on the north coast. This week we have opened up the Oakland Medical Tower, a beautiful new facility for our outpatient practice and ambulatory surgery. It also houses the Dan L. Duncan Cancer Center. As you know, this weekend we host the Final Four. And based on the participants in the Final Four and that it's being held in Houston with none of the teams from Texas, we are expecting, hold your hat, literally tens of people. Then last summer, July 4th, despite all that, I got my first infection with COVID. So this was the original Wuhan strain. Omicron sort of started with this group, and this was the BA.4/5, so the one that I got infected with, pretty far distant from the original strain, which is why you had very little immune protection. Are in the life magnified category, and there's a sheet of 20 stamps. 2 of the images come from our core. This is the Baylor Advanced Technology core. It's called the Optical Imaging and Vital Microscopy core.
Imaging techniques like a confocal and light sheet microscopy that will come into play.
Where's Lily?
Lily Cam is running.
Oh, yeah.
Lily is here. good? Any other reviews of food? That's
burgers.
It? Burgers are good?
It's interesting.
Burgers are interesting? That's what you now. When the left ventricle gets damaged, then people have real problems.
This one has a really high frequency sound.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Probably a lawyer or a veterinarian.
And what are you planning on doing?
I was planning on being a plastic surgeon.
Yes, you do. All right, so you create your own DNA sequence.
Don't feel any pressure whatsoever.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Gupta, will you please join me? Dr. Sanjay, yes. We held an event to commemorate the beginning of construction of the new Lily and Roy Cohen Tower, a collaborative space for medical education and research scheduled to open in 2026. It turns out that over that period of time, early January and February, there was a huge spike. These are both antigen and PCR for human metapneumovirus. So what is human metapneumovirus? It's one that is really indistinguishable from the symptoms of COVID, except it really impacts not only older people, but young children as well. There is a 5,000-mile mass of seaweed washing up on the Florida coast. No one knows why it went to Florida, but I suspect there was evidence of a Disney character, Merlin, hovering over that large mass, steering it to the Florida coast to welcome Governor DeSantis. And one more example of why you should get a vaccine. This is Kaplan-Meier adjusted graphs for vaccinated versus vaccinated who gets long COVID. The blue line is people who are not vaccinated. The vaccinated people are in the yellow line, and you can see the probability is much greater if you are not vaccinated.
Oh, look at that, look. Oh, are you ready or what? Okay, cheers, yay!
Flying foxes are the largest bats, and if you look just to see the size of them compared to a human, these are giant bats, and they tend to live in clusters in the forest and eat fruit. One that we think is responsible for the coronavirus reservoirs is the horseshoe bat. And it's named the horseshoe bat because its nose looks like a horseshoe. During the lockdowns, the movement of these animals increased by 70%. There's a raccoon hanging out in New York City. Here's a deer crossing the street in Nara, Japan. This is my favorite. This is a sea lion in Buenos Aires waiting for the store to open so I can get some fresh fish. When I read the fine print on my ticket, it said either you or your luggage will get to Botswana. Punch! Punch! Wacko! So I never made it to Botswana, but I did do a Zoom.
Dr. Klotman, if you're online, you may go ahead, sir.
That Botswana was the first high-burden country in the world to be officially recognized in achieving the benchmark necessary in limiting mother-to-child transmission of HIV. And today we celebrate multiple milestones that have resulted from this public-private partnership. The movie Barbie and Ken is premiering this week, and Lily is all excited about getting ready to go to the premiere.
Doing drug exposure experiments, and even more. And our core can also assist users in training to utilize zebrafish for experiments. So if you don't know how, we can teach you. The Zebrafish Genetics Core operates in this brand new state-of-the-art zebrafish animal facility, which was built over the past 3 years, and the facility has a capacity for over 2,000 holding tanks and can hold a colony of 30 to 40,000 animals.
To welcome Dr. Amy McGuire, the Director of the Center for Medical Ethics and Health Policy, and Dr. Richard Gibbs, the Director of Human Genome Sequencing Center. We just celebrated the 20th anniversary
of the completion of the human genome.
Private industry stepped up kind of late in the game and said, why don't we carry the ball over the finish line? And you guys could go do the maths.
Genome Project and the subsequent early sequencing was done on individuals of European descent. And so diversifying the data sets and making sure that it's really genomics for all is kind of the key thing for the future.
I sent her there to try to learn to be more sociable and pleasant.
Hello, Dr. Klotman. We regret to inform you that Lily has been removed from Mini Dachshund Camp due to bad behavior. Please come get your dog and don't bring her back.
We're going up in almost every single surveillance site. And we're at now 135% of the level that we had when we first started the program in the middle of the pandemic, July 6, 2020. Even the EG.5 comes from a common variant XBB. So when you think about, well, how do you design vaccines? We're certainly going to want to have an XBB vaccine, but I'm hopeful we have at least a trivalent vaccine. Leprosy appears to be going on in Florida. So we talked politics last week, so let's turn to religion. Cleanse those who have leprosy, drive out the demons, because leprosy was thought really to be a curse from God because of sin. So why Florida? There is one animal reservoir, armadillos. So next time you see an armadillo, don't go kiss it. Now, what is the variant driving it? It is now EG.5. We just talked about that worldwide. This is becoming the dominant strain.
Oh, an apple for me? Thank you, Lily. What happened to my apple?
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
And the University Hospital in Syracuse has actually now reinstated a mask order. What you're supposed to do on National Dog Day is give your dog a T-R-E-A-T. Now I have to spell it out because if I say the word treat, the Karnes County School District of Southeast San Antonio closed its schools because there's a huge surge in COVID cases. And about 25% of their staff members are out. Now, last year they had the exact same thing happen, but mostly it was students that were sick. This time, all the teachers are sick, or at least they claim to be sick. Just north of Harris County, you can see the yellow counties up there. So increasing, so why is that? We have a mismatch between where the virus is being excreted a lot in wastewater, and yet cases are showing up. This is the percent of patients who had an updated booster. White is where there's virtually none.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hello, Paul. So, 179 episodes was not enough. No. You had to make 180 video messages.
Newman!
You had to beat
Newman!
Seinfeld. But Lily, I don't believe she signed a contract or is willingly going along with you on this enterprise. I can't guarantee that her conditions are safe and sanitary, or that she's not working dog hours.
We're going to talk about the upcoming flu season.
If I had to predict, I think we're going to have a moderate influenza season, and it's going to be dominated by the H1N1 virus and flu B.
Well, Lily's not here, because of that Newman.
So, the next time you make one of your video messages, please have Lily give a call to her SAG rep, and we will discuss her future in the union.
4 dominant strains that are derivatives of XBB, and then the vaccine is directed at XBB 1.5. Now, it doesn't look like a perfect match, but it's going to be close enough that I'm sure it'll be effective. There was a stranded luxury cruise on a sandbar in Greenland, and it took a research vessel to pull it off of that sandbar. And it turns out a lot of the passengers were infected with COVID anyway. So Frankly, I think they should have just left it on the sandbar for a while. Anyway, good news. The U.S. Government has decided that you can get free COVID tests again and get my vaccines. And I said just as soon as possible. And I suggested that she get all 3 at once. And so I took my own advice and I did that. And I will tell you right now, they had no effect on me. EG5 continues to be the main variant, but HV1 has emerged as a new, pretty strong variant. Let's talk about flu. Flu is Alabama, but New York City, Janet, flu has arrived in New York City, so there's going to be a lot of flu. Everybody should be getting their flu vaccine, we hope.
The Astros have done it. The Astros have done it again in 2023. The Kings of the American League West.
We at a health sciences education center, we do not allow the hoopla around professional sports to really get in the way of our seriousness. But it is opportunity today, Friday, to show your spirit for the Astros. You have to marvel at the engineering feat that just happened about asteroid Bennu. So it's not 9 miles to wipe out like the dinosaurs, but it is on a potential collision course with the Earth. The odds that it will impact the Earth are about 1 in 2,700, which is way better than Powerball. The first place winner was Mystery Witch, and the second place winner, one my sister won, it was Cool Bones. There's going to be an eclipse Saturday, a partial eclipse on Saturday, October 14th. And I guess I shouldn't have to remind you, don't look directly in the sun. I mean, occasionally, even presidents look directly in the sun. So Lily hopefully will be back now that the writer's strike is resolved. Unfortunately, the actors are still out, but Lily's thinking about coming back. Giant shout out to one viewer who suggested that Lily goes Taylor Swift and I go as the Kansas City Chiefs player Travis Kelce. Now, she could pull off Taylor Swift. I don't think I can pull off Travis Kelce. And my sister also wanted a quick update this week. I'm not sure why she wanted a quick update, but she said, tell me what's going on early on. She's got work to do. As we've been talking about, HV1 is the dominant new variant. It's now leading EG5. It took a while, but Lily has agreed to end the strike with them. She has some very specific demands, including a new dressing room, spa days, wardrobe allowance. She has some issue with cats.
The strike is over. And today, performers are getting ready to go back to work.
Lily, I've considered your request to ban all cats from Texas. I've taken a look at authority, precedent, and in my legal opinion, it would violate the Texas Catstitution. Lily? Lily? Lily?
Guys, quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take 1.
Lights, camera,